Speaker, today Algoma announced it's laying off 1,000 steel workers, nearly a third of its workforce in the Soo. Our thoughts are with them. The Prime Minister looked them in the eye and promised he would protect their jobs, that he would negotiate a win, and I quote, have a deal by July 21st, but it was a bait and switch that is costing people their livelihoods. On top of that, Liberals are hammering the steel mill with a higher industrial carbon tax. Isn't it bad enough that the Prime Minister broke his promise on trade? Why is he going ahead with an industrial carbon tax that will kill even more steel jobs?
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Shut
Obviously,
up, G.I.
our
Jolie.
thoughts are with the workers affected by the unjustified and unjustifiable tariffs imposed by the White House, and we'll continue to work with them as Algoma Steel is going through a difficult situation, to say the least. Mr. Speaker, my team and I have been in contact with Algoma's leadership team. We absolutely have every confidence in the Algoma workers as they're going through this hardship, and we will make sure that we support them as they're developing new products and also accessing new markets. We'll fight for these jobs, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, more promises and more Liberal thoughts will not put food on the table of those out-of-work steel workers. And they're not alone. The Liberal food cost crisis is growing, according to today's Feed Ontario report, which reveals that food bank use is up 13% in 1 year and 165% since this Prime Minister became the economic advisor to this Liberal government. 8.7 million Ontario visits in 1 year to the Ontario Food Bank, while this Prime Minister hikes carbon taxes on food production. Why is he driving more people into hunger with higher taxes?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, every step of the way, these Conservatives fight against the supports that Canadian families talk about needing. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, they just asked a question about workers that are facing job losses at Algoma Steel. And yet, Mr. Speaker, when they had a chance to vote for expansion of EI, for easier access, longer duration, and more generous benefits, they voted against it, Mr. Speaker. So how do they in any way have the right to stand up and talk about the needs of Canadians when they stand in the way of the supports that those very Canadians need?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The supports that those Canadians want and need is a paycheck, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Well said, buddy.
They want to be able to afford food. They should be able. In a country with this much farmland and this much wealth, our people should be able to eat. But according to the latest report by Feed Ontario, there's been a 165% increase in food bank use in Ontario alone since this Prime Minister joined this government. Yet he wants to go ahead with an industrial carbon tax on farm equipment, food processors, and fertilizer that will drive up the cost of food. Why does he get fat on his tax havens while he taxes people?
Mr. Speaker, it's amazing to hear the Leader of the Opposition, because the first thing we did is to make sure that Canadians would have more money in their pocket, Mr. Speaker. We, in fact, reduced taxes for Canadians, 22 million Canadians. But you know what, Mr. Speaker, what's most disturbing for Canadians watching at home?
Shut up,
every step
Chihuahua.
of the way, where we were there for families, where we were there for workers, where we were there for Canadians, they stand in the way, Mr. Speaker. That's the Leader who voted against Canadian. On this side of the House, we believe in Canada. We're going to grow this country. We're going to work for families. We're going to protect the worker. We're going to build Canada, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Man, that guy's voice is annoying.
Prime Minister didn't just break his promises on food, also on housing. He said he'd double home building. But today, a report out from the Missing Middle shows that housing starts are down 34% across 34 Ontario municipalities. Condo starts down 51%. Yet the Prime Minister goes ahead with a Liberal industrial carbon tax on the steel, aluminum, glass, and other inputs required to build homes. It is a tax on homes, all while he hides his millions of dollars in a Bermuda tax haven. Why does he hide his money abroad while taxing homes here in Canada?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the Leader of the Opposition and Conservatives actually cared about affordable housing, they would have voted for the budget with $13 billion for affordable housing. Mr. Speaker, they could have voted housing, Mr. Speaker.
Once upon a time in Canada, you could work hard, earn a decent living, and build a better life. In a decade of Liberal policy, that bargain has been blown to pieces. A CTV report this weekend showed that even families earning $200 grand are being driven out of Toronto because they can't afford a basement rental, a home, or anything else. Last year, 35,000 households fled the GTA, not because they wanted to, but because they had to. Is move somewhere cheaper the new official government slogan of these Liberals for Canadians who can't afford to stay in their homes?
That's crazy. Can't afford life in Toronto.
Speaker,
And
well, it's
with 200 grand.
hypocrisy to hear this from the Conservatives. All of a sudden, they're concerned about affordable housing. Building starts are up across Canada this year versus last year. If you look at year to year, we're moving up. We are investing $13 billion in Build Canada homes. That's focused on non-market housing and market housing that leverages it. Mr. Speaker, we're getting no support from the Conservatives to scale up affordable housing at an unprecedented rate, and we expect that if they're going to speak out here about it.
The honourable member for Thornhill.
Speaker, it is clear we would never support any of the policies that doubled home prices over the last decade.
Yeah.
But families aren't just leaving Toronto because it's expensive. They're leaving because it's dangerous. We have needles in parks and crack pipes on the subway, and everybody is just supposed to pretend that all of this is normal. Does the government understand that public safety failures and the cost of housing, the cost of food, the cost of everything else are pushing Canadians out of their own communities after 10 years of their Liberal failure?
The honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, it'd be really nice if these Conservatives would read the reports that they quote in the House of Commons. Food Banks Ontario talks about the importance of increasing base rates for social assistance, making sure that people living in poverty have sufficient social supports, Mr. Speaker, investing in income supports for Canadians like we have done through the Canada Disability Support payment, Mr. Speaker. The kinds of recommendations coming out of these reports fly in the face of the individualism that we hear over on the other side, Mr. Speaker. What Canadians know is that sometimes people face hard times, and when they do, they want their country to be there for them.
At a time when families are under unprecedented financial pressures, Canadians expect their government to put them first. While this Prime Minister travels abroad, meeting with dictators and autocrats, Canadians here at home are struggling to make ends meet. In parts of Ontario, food bank visits have increased by over 250%. This budget was an opportunity for the government to lower the cost of living by eliminating the industrial carbon tax. Instead, they callously increased it. Why?
Yeah, you tell us.
Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
Mr. Speaker, these Conservatives voted against lowering the cost of living when they voted against Budget 2025 because they voted against food in schools for children. They voted against a tax cut for middle-income Canadians.
What else?
They voted against $75 million in apprenticeship training and against a refundable tax credit for personal support workers.
Really? Oh my God.
They also voted against $45 million in funding to address gender-based violence.
Wow.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians and seniors want to know who these Conservatives are fighting for, because it certainly isn't them.
The honourable member for Hastings.
They're trying to fight for Canada, but you guys keep blocking them.
Instead of disingenuous replies to very serious questions, Canadians deserve answers. Let me share the state of Ontario, of food banks in Ontario. 2 in 3 food banks are concerned about sustaining their operations over the next 6 months. 1 in 2 worry they will not have enough food to meet the needs in their community. And directly from the Hunger Report, quote, over the past 5 years, the proportion of first-time food bank visitors have increased. The trend is unsurprising as overall food bank use has nearly doubled. Mr. Speaker, can the Prime Minister explain why he's driving up grocery costs?
Yeah.
While he's refusing.
The honourable Secretary of State.
Mr. Speaker, these Conservatives voted against lowering the cost of living for seniors when they voted against Budget 2025. They voted against old age security. They voted against the guaranteed income supplement. They voted against the New Horizons for Seniors program. They voted against anti-fraud measures that protect seniors from scams. They voted against a tax credit for personal support workers that support seniors who need care. They voted against dental care for over 6 million Canadians that are currently
taking advantage of that. Canadians want to know, Mr. Speaker, who these Conservatives are fighting for, because it clearly isn't them.
The honourable member for King Vaughan.
Mr. Speaker, food bank usage is at a dangerously high level. With over 1 million people using the food bank in Ontario, this past year usage has skyrocketed 165%. Parents take pride in providing for their families. However, the cost of living crisis, 29% of food bank users are children. Wow. When will this Liberal government stop playing games with their Brookfield buddies and stop the industrial carbon tax so Canadians can afford to feed their families?
Great question, and it's a real problem.
Mr. Speaker, Feed Ontario and Food Banks Canada do important work on the front lines, but they also make important recommendations for government, Mr. Speaker. And what are some of those recommendations? They recommended that Budget 2025 include automatic benefits.
If you guys haven't yet already,
benefit,
hit the like button, please.
Brought back by our government. National School Food Program, which was made permanent by our government, which the Conservatives recently called garbage. Mr. Speaker, they called on the government to make sure that we were building more affordable housing, and Build Canada Homes does just that. Mr. Speaker, how do the Conservatives sleep at night? Just exploiting the challenges that Canadians are facing for their own political gain without following one suggestion.